Good evening, and thank you for joining us again on Optimal Play. I do want to start on a little bit of a serious note tonight. Matt Newman, designer of Arkham Horror, the card game, has gone missing since June in some sort of accident in a marketing stunt where they were exploring some caves out in Minnesota. So just wanted to say that we're thinking of him and hoping that he gets found quickly and is in good shape and can get back to us soon. We miss you, Matt. Anything to add to that, Stephen?
If you want to leave out like some Eggos or Cheetos or something, like in case he is, trapped in some kind of parallel dimension that can occasionally reach over here, it can't hurt.
It can't hurt. That's absolutely right. Well, if I know Matt, and I kind of do, the one thing he would want is for us to continue reviewing cards, enjoying Arkham Horror. It is the fruit of his labor. So with that, we are going to get into the... Damn it, not Beyond the Black Throne. What is it?
Before the Black Throne.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to be giving our first impressions of the player cards in the Before the Black Throne Mythos pack, which wraps up the Circle and Done cycle, so it's very exciting.
Possibly Matt Newman's final cycle.
I hope not.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
First, we like to go back to, oh no, I can never get this right, In the Clutches of Chaos?
Yeah, sounds right.
The lengthy names this cycle have really thrown me off on these videos. In the Clutches of Chaos had some player cards. We talked about them. Have you played with any of them?
Yeah, I put a few in my deck. The one that I drew was the permanent, Another Day, Another Paycheck.
No wonder you drew that, yeah.
And I wasn't sure if it was going to be great in a Dark Horse Preston, because, he does just kind of try to spend all his money and then not have any. But it was actually awesome. Even though, he gets the 4 a turn, he still has so much to spend. In the first 2 actions, if I had Another Day, Another Paycheck, I could have spent 12.
Right, and you can stack 2 of them.
Yep, and so I think I am going to add another one into my Preston. It just instead of these kind of marginal actions that Preston often takes when he's out of money, it just gives you another action where you can actually do something, play an item, use Streetwise, stuff like that. And just getting an extra action early is super valuable.
And speaking of adding it to your Preston, you're talking about the deck in our campaign together, which we're going into before the Black Throne. It is a perfect card to add at the very end of a campaign because everyone hates spending all this XP on some fancy card, shuffling it into the bottom of their deck and never even drawing it in the last scenario. So these permanents are a great way to spend that last XP.
Definitely, yeah.
The only card from this pack that I've had a chance to play with yet was in Carolyn, and it was Ghastly Revelation, which I still really like the card, but unsurprisingly never played it. I think the card is super interesting, the way you sacrifice yourself right before you would probably die anyway to get a bunch of clues and give it all to an ally, but the problems are you never plan around, you never set yourself up to sacrifice yourself. It's really an emergency button. And then there are times when you're actually going to go down anyway, and it still isn't helpful. Like in Curtain Call, I started a Carcosa campaign with Carolyn. I did go down from damage with Carolyn and had Ghastly Revelation in my hand, but we weren't even trying to get clues. We were trying to parlay the Man in the Mask. Man in the Pallid Mask, thank you. We were trying to parlay the Man in the Pallid Mask as our objective. I had no clues because we had just spent them, and there were none on my location, so what was even the point of Ghastly Revelation? So it's real niche, and I think that was kind of the wake-up call, was that the scenarios themselves also cause it to be even more niche than just the fact that it has to be in a situation where you want to be defeated. So I still like the card, but I'm not sure it's going to go into many more decks.
Maybe you'd use it more often in Carolyn if you took out all those pesky healing cards.
I went down to damage, though. They all heal horror, so wouldn't have helped. Okay, well, I'm excited to dive into this last pack. The final pack of the cycle usually has a lot of high-level cards and really exciting stuff, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, want to give us the first one?
Sure. So this is not an XP card. It's a 2-cost asset, Hollowed Mirror, item, relic, occult, and blessed.
A lot of traits.
Now, so occult, does that mean Akachi can play this?
I thought that was Marie who can take occults.
I thought it was Akachi. Marie can take any spell.
Okay. Oh, I had the purple characters. Their deck building rules are all pretty similar to one another.
That's very colorist.
Wow. All right. Give us the card.
So it's blessed too. So Mateo. Limit 1 per deck.
Oh, so we're off to a bad start this pack. That's a big drawback.
Forced. After Hollowed Mirror enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Soothing Melody. Add 1 to your hand and shuffle the other 2 into your deck. When Hollowed Mirror leaves play, find each copy of Soothing Melody, even if they're out of play, and remove them from the game. And it's a accessory slot.
Right. Oh, Guardians don't have a lot of. So I, thankfully, because I did not look at the insert for this pack before we turned on the cameras, thankfully I read the preview for this pack way back when and learned that bonded means that there's this card it mentions, Soothing Melody, which whenever you play with Hallowed Mirror in your deck, you will have those set aside and ready for this card to call them in. Mm-hmm. So I guess, unless you have anything else to add now, we better move on to Soothing Melody, which I assume is the next card in this pack.
Yeah, probably some kind of healing card, I'm guessing. Maybe for Carolyn.
Let's take a look. It is a 0-cost event. It's a spell, and it's bonded to Hallowed Mirror. Heal 2 damage or 2 horror. You called that. Or any combination thereof, from among investigators and or ally assets at your location. Draw 1 card. Normally I would read the flavor text as well, but it is in French from the looks of it, and I don't think that would go well.
Et leur chanson se mêle au clair de lune, au calme clair de lune triste et beau.
Do you speak French?
Un peu.
Huh, I had no idea. Okay, so Hallowed Mirror gives you 3 copies, 1 in your hand and 2 shuffled into your deck of this free, although not fast, but free resource-wise, heal 2 damage or 2 horror spell. And it draws a card. I like it.
Yeah, I really like the flexibility that it does damage, combination of damage and horror, because that way, Carolyn, you can still get the dollar while also healing damage by doing 1 and 1.
Right.
And then drawing cards is good. So, like, potentially, with Carolyn, you could heal 1 damage, heal 1 horror, give them $1, and draw them 1 card.
And if you have her signature asset, another horror.
But then it wouldn't be perfectly 1, 1, 1, 1.
Oh, fair. Okay, I see what you're doing there.
I would not even trigger that reaction.
Choose not to, just for the perfect symmetry. Okay. I mean, yeah, actually, I get it. That seems like the kind of thing I would do, too. This seems great. The icons on it are meh, but you're not probably going to use a free heal spell with draw a card on it for its icons, so I don't really mind.
So now here's a question about the rules for bonded cards. Mm-hmm. They don't go in your deck. Mateo can take blessed cards. This is not a blessed card though. So can the cards that come from your bonded cards not fit your deck building rules?
I have to assume that it's fine for them to not fit your deck building rules. I don't know that for sure as we record this.
It would seem weird to give it these traits if some people can't take the other part.
Right, and 3 of these 4 traits on it, Relic, Occult, and Blessed, correspond to Investigator deck building. So it's got to. It's got to be fine. I don't think they're allowed to put this in their deck, but just can't have the bonded cards available. Yeah. Very cool. It seems real strong, and my understanding of this mechanic is it's going to continue in the Dream Eater cycle. It's I've checked out the preview article for the next deluxe box, and it has bonded cards. So it's a weird time for this to show up, like the final pack of a new cycle when it's going to be, I guess I don't know if it's going to be more focal or more numerous in the next box, but when it's going to continue into the next box, it's a strange choice, but I think I'm going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a cool mechanic. I know one of the ones coming up here. I don't know if there's going to be any more. I personally am super excited for like bad bonded cards. Like, I would love, for example, a Necromicon that was super powerful, but it bonds like some really bad monsters into the encounter deck. You know, like, oh, you've read this book, but you've unleashed these demons.
I mean, into the encounter deck or into your deck.
Or into your deck, yeah. It's like new weaknesses or something.
Right, that's cool. Yeah, there's a lot they can do with this. They could do treacheries that have bonded things that shuffle into your deck too. Which I would be surprised if we see that in this scenario, but next cycle, if it's kind of a feature of the cycle, anything goes. Very cool, a lot of potential.
Yeah, it definitely increases the number of sleeves you have to bring to your gaming sessions.
Good point.
You know, be careful.
Yeah, very good point. Okay. I didn't expect. It's a lower level I've had worse, which, if I recall right, is a level 4 Guardian event. This one is level 2. It's spirit traded. Says fast. Play when you are dealt damage and/or horror. Cancel up to 2 damage and or horror just dealt to you, then gain that many resources. I think the original was exactly this, but cancel up to 5 damage and or horror. Does that sound right?
It was 4 or 5.
Okay.
And it was 4 or 5 XP.
It's level 4. I'm pretty sure of that. So I think that between the two, this is the better card. I think that canceling up to 2 damage and or horror is plenty for a lot of the times that you would want to use it. And I think it's almost the level 4 version can be kind of a trap because you sit there like, well, I'm taking 3 damage and horror right now, but if I hold on to this until I take even more, I get more resources, and it can tempt you into making bad plays. So actually, I think I like this a lot.
I think at 2 XP, Calvin can take it too, right?
Sure, yeah, it's spirit traded, yeah.
So
that's fantastic for him, actually. Yeah.
So, maybe you upgrade your perseverance into this because this is cheaper and gives you money, whereas perseverance takes money.
Right. Yeah, unexpected. This wasn't a core set card, right? It was like Dunwich?
Yeah, maybe Dunwich.
I don't know. It seems like a real random add in here to have a downgrade of some other previous cycle's card, but I think it's a good card.
Yeah. And I think they've done that. Like the Book of Shadows, didn't they downgrade that a couple cycles later?
Maybe so. I know the return boxes have had some downgrades. I don't know about how often the campaign, the Mythos packs have done it. But yeah, cool. It's pretty straightforward. I don't have much more to say, but I like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Occult Lexicon. Okay, so I think this is the one that was previewed. It's a 2-cost asset for Seekers, Item, Tome, and Occult. So after Occult Lexicon enters play, search your bonded cards for 3 copies of Bloodright, add 1 to your hand, shuffle the other 2 in your deck. When it leaves play, find those copies and remove them from the game, and it's a hand slot.
Yeah, and so it brings into play Bloodright, which is a bonded spell. It's another 0-cost event, and it says, draw 2 cards, discard up to 2 cards from your hand. For each card thusly discarded, you may either gain 1 resource or spend 1 resource to deal 1 damage to an enemy at your location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So again, love the bonded mechanic. And I play a lot of digital card games, Hearthstone primarily. One thing that those games do that I love that paper games generally can't is like essentially shuffle token cards into your deck.
Yep.
Just like spawn minions or something out of thin air, shuffle them into your deck, and when you draw them, you get to play them, or they just come into play. This is the closest I've ever seen to a paper card game doing that. I don't know if this was inspired by Hearthstone specifically, but it feels exactly like a Hearthstone card, and I kind of love it for that. I really like digital card games that take strong advantage of things that the tabletop can't do. In this case, we're proving that actually the tabletop can do this particular one. But I'm a big fan. That said, I don't know that this one is all that great.
Well, I think it uses a lot of words to say, essentially, do 4 damage with Ancient Stones.
Good point, because each time you draw a card, you can do damage there. That's... Yeah, okay. Obviously, goes well with Ancient Stones. In a vacuum, like, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. It's going to trigger weaknesses. If it said, like, in parentheses, like, if you discard weaknesses, it does not trigger the Revelation effect or something like that, that would be a lot stronger. But it's going to trigger anything from those draws, and then you're going to discard something and just get some combination of up to 2 resources or spending up to 2 resources to deal 2 damage. It feels pretty weak. And then the Lexicon takes up a hand slot, which for me is a much harder sell than taking up the accessory slot, which the mirror takes up.
Yeah, I think this does synergize with a lot of what Min likes to do. She loves to draw cards. She doesn't really mind discarding cards because she can discard things like Winging It that she uses over and over. So I think there's a lot of synergies there. Whether it'll see that much play outside of it, I don't know. Definitely hand slot is very important in Seekers. We've already seen 3 great options in the magnifying glass, the fingerprint kit, and the camera. You would love to have like 6 hands as a Seeker.
Already every time I build a Seeker deck, I'm like, oh, which 2 of these do I want to take? Yeah.
So definitely that part is tough. It is a tome, so it could go in Daisy's tote bag.
Oh, good point. And damn it, when you finished speaking, I was going to comment like, hey, look at this, a tome where we didn't just say, that's good for Daisy. But I stand corrected.
I mean, I do think Min is probably the most obvious home, but there is a little synergy with the tote bag.
Yeah, even though I don't think this card is great, I think I will definitely play with it because I think the bonded mechanic is really fun.
Yeah, no, I am excited to play for it and play with it.
Okay. Whoa, we've got a level 5 Seeker event called Glimpse the Unthinkable. Right off the bat, I don't normally comment on the icons, but 3 intellect icons. That's unusual. It's insight traded and says, shuffle any number of non-weakness cards from your hand into your deck. Draw cards until you reach your maximum hand size. Remove Glimpse the Unthinkable from the game. Ignorance is a bliss you cannot afford. What do you think of this one?
Let's see. So it's an insight. So maybe Joe. I mean, it's not like obviously that much better than Cryptic Research, which generally gets you up to your hand size.
Cryptic Research is draw 3 cards?
Yeah, and it's fast and it's 0. And it can go on other people. So it has a number of advantages over this.
Yeah. This feels to me like it goes with, and maybe the Lexicon was the start of this too, and it will continue into next cycle, but it almost goes in an archetype where Seekers are discarding cards to get effects. Because this is stronger the smaller your hand size is, which Seekers don't generally have small hands all that often because they draw so many cards. And get rewarded for having a large hand size. So this kind of goes in a deck that I don't feel like exists yet. Mm-hmm. Because, you want to burn those cards to get a lot of efficiency out of this.
It is also better than Cryptic Research at searching for a card because you can dump your whole hand. Mm-hmm. But Seekers are already pretty good at searching for cards too. So, you could spend this on No Stone in turn 5, for example.
True, yeah. And it does help you set up combos. Not that there's a huge amount of those in this game, but because you do get to pick and choose which one. It's almost like a mid-game mulligan, right? Mm-hmm. You pick and choose which cards from your hand you keep and then draw a full hand size. The one other thing that occurs to me, and I don't think there's much, if any of this in the game, but if you can increase your maximum hand size, this scales with it.
Totally. I think a lot of competitive card games do have that option. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen it yet in Arkham.
Yeah.
But that would definitely help. The thing that worries me is that you don't get to mulligan any of the weaknesses you draw. So the most powerful version of this is you are drawing 6. Maybe you're dumping your hand to search for something. But you don't get to mulligan weaknesses, and the cards you just dumped get shuffled back in, so there's a decent chance you draw them back again.
Yeah, you can end up with just the same things you tried to get rid of.
I think I would have done more like the mulligan rules, where you set aside those cards, and then you draw up, and then maybe you get to put weaknesses back.
Yeah, that would feel a little better.
I think given that Cryptic Research and No Stone Unturned are already such good options, this could use a bit of a boost like that.
Yeah, to me it's just like something I'll put on ice until that deck that I can imagine this fitting into, but that doesn't exist yet, starts to exist. So
yeah.
All right. Oh, we've got another level 0 card. It's not all. I feel like this is more level 0 cards than usual for the last pack. Why don't you read us You Owe Me One?
Yeah. So it's a 0-cost event with Book, Fist, and Feet. It is You Owe Me One, Favor, and Gambit. Now, Favor so far have always been the 2-cost, 4-cost, 6-cost.
No, those are services.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe some or all of those also have the favor trait, but there's been more favors.
Got it.
Sure.
Okay. Look at another investigator's hand. You may play a non-weakness card in that investigator's hand under your control. If you do, you and that investigator each draw 1 card. That's really cool.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, sure. That's what you said the last 3 times.
That's good. I love this card.
It's super cool.
I like this for 2 big reasons. One, it's so rare. So far, I think only the Guardian card Teamwork lets you take advantage of each other's cards, which can be good to solve problems impromptu, but also allows your team to deck build in a way that complements each other at a whole nother level. And then also just the way this plays into the roguish, who gives a shit attitude of I'm just gonna pluck that card I want from their hand. It goes with you handle this one also. It's like
Yeah.
only looking out for yourself. Like your allies are there to help you. You're just gonna take what you need. I love it.
Yeah, it's like they've done this like dick version of all the Guardian cards in Rogue. So there had the you handle this one
Right.
is the version of let me handle this.
Yep.
And this is the Rogue version of teamwork.
Yeah, you owe me one.
And I like how, like in Pandemic, for example, there's text on the card airlift that says, like, you have to get someone's permission to move them,
Yeah.
And it's like, Arkham's like, no.
No.
There's not going to be any, like, you have to have my permission to play cards out of my hand.
No, we're all adults at this point. We can handle a little bit of unenforced teamwork, right?
Exactly.
Very cool. I love it. The next rogue card is called the Double Double. It's a 4-cost asset. It's a ritual. That's interesting, and it's exceptional and takes an arcane slot.
So is this the most expensive non-taboo card?
Or
yes, Pocket Watch is the
Pocket Watch
same.
is the same. Yeah, and then I think so. I think it's our second natural 8 XP card. Yeah. Let's see what it does, because it better be good, huh? As a reaction, after you play an event, exhaust Double Double, play that event again as if it were in your hand. Harpier cries, "'Tis time, 'tis time." It's a Macbeth quote in the flavor text.
And it's an arcane slot.
And it's an arcane slot, which rogues don't have much trouble using. Okay, sorry. One question first. Are you paying the cost the second time?
Yes, because you're playing it as if it was in your hand. So yeah.
I guess so. Okay. I feel like other cards, or maybe I'm thinking of other LCGs, would have put in parentheses like paying all costs or something to clarify that, and this one doesn't. Is why it threw me off a little bit. But this seems like a lot of fun.
It seems really cool. Double ace in the hole seems bonkers.
What was its taboo change though? Was it only once per round?
Oh, they
Does
might
that
have done that.
Does this break? Does that? I don't think that Ace in the Hole works with this, which is
Oh, that's super lame.
really unfortunate.
All right, you take everything nice we said about taboos back. Mm-hmm. Everyone, don't play with taboos.
Yeah, really, the taboo list is dead. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I want my +6 actions. No, now I wonder if it was if this card had anything to do with that. In addition to there were those infinite combos that Ace in the Hole led to. I am struggling off the top of my head to think of like what I would specifically do with a deck build to take advantage of this, but I think it's super cool. And really, I could see a lot of decks, especially rogue decks, that because they have so many events that just do simple things like gain money, or they have the services that if you'd have to have a lot of money to use them twice.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you
can
think about like the Hoarder Preston style, the last few turns when you have $30, imagining you grabbing 4 clues a turn,
Yeah.
with one card,
Yeah.
or doing 4 damage, or evading 4 enemies, that's pretty crazy.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm eager to try this. It's expensive up front too. 4 resources just to play, and then you're paying for each event twice probably. Honestly though, if it doubles in emergency cash, it's practically paid for itself.
Yeah, and you're probably by the time you're taking this, you've already maybe gotten Hot Streak. So, sure, Gamble unfortunately doesn't really combo with it, but there are Sneak Attack is always a good one.
Right.
So.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. I like it. Speaking.
One question I do have.
Yeah.
If the event removes itself from the game, can you still play it?
Ooh, great question. I have no idea.
Yeah, I would say probably not.
Which was like,
but-
I'm blanking on the name, but Glimpsy and Thinkable, for example.
Yeah.
Not that these two are ever going to go in the same deck together, but... Yeah, I don't know the answer to that either. Something for the rules channel on the Mythos Busters Discord. That's where I go. Okay, but speaking of arcane slots, take us into Mystic.
Yeah, so this is a upgraded version of Wither. 2 costs, 4 XP, 2 fight icons. To spell, action, fight, the attack uses will. You get +2 will. If any of the special symbols other than auto fail is revealed during the attack time gets -1 fight, -1 health, and -1 evade. so to a minimum of 1. So I think it's interesting. It's instead of doing 2 damage, it's doing 1 damage and -1 health.
Right. Only for the turn, though. So if you finish it off, you have to finish it off that turn for that to matter.
Yeah.
It's like damage that doesn't stick. So first, we came down pretty anti-Wither and Sixth Sense when they came out, being 0 charge spells that just let you convert your basic actions into willpower actions. Has your stance on that changed, and does this affect it?
I never played with Wither. It didn't seem as overpowered as Sixth Sense, but it wasn't super interesting to me.
I played with it. It wasn't great.
Yeah. This does seem pretty good, and, I do think if you're in, say, 2 or 3 player with a Guardian, 95% of the time, you probably between the two of you, you'll be able to finish off the enemy in 1 turn. So it seems like...
Yeah, the Guardian would need to go first, because it doesn't last for other players' turns.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely some timing issues, but, Guardians often like going first anyway.
True, yeah.
So, yeah, it seems pretty strong, and, you almost would only ever need your other spells for the very final boss that can't be killed in 1 turn. So, yeah, it seems really strong.
I wonder why... Are you really going to use Wither to do damage and then take advantage of the -1 evade to evade it on subsequent actions? I guess I like the -1/-1/-1 symmetry, but I feel like that adds nothing to this card. I do think it looks like a pretty good card, though. Having played with Wither, it was sorely lacking having plus willpower, just with your base willpower. And it didn't help that I played it in Diana, so it spends a lot of the game at 2, 3, 4 willpower, but it didn't hit a lot, and then I didn't draw these icons for its bonus effect that much, and when I did, it didn't matter. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of talking myself out of liking this card either, because the +2 willpower is the main thing I think that matters here. The -1 health is situational, and the -1 evade is useless, and also you have to draw these tokens to even have it hit, it matter.
I guess because the Chthonian Stone doesn't help you draw those more often. So the only things that help you are the protective incantations, which also compete for an arcane slot, so that could be awkward, as well as grotesque statues to help you pick those. So it's not super easy to get in a really good spot to hit those, but...
Yeah, this does look a little more appealing with Eldritch Inspiration that lets you take a token effect and double it, because -1 health is a lot better to double than just -1 fight was. But, okay, I would be eager to test this a little bit, but I think it's fine. Not great. What was better at its base level, though, was Sixth Sense, which we now have a level 4 upgrade to that. It's a 3-cost asset, it's a spell, and it says, and I'm going to squint a little bit because it looks like 7 lines of text. As an action, investigate. Investigate using willpower instead of intellect. You get +2 willpower for this investigation. If you draw a symbol token, if one of these tokens is revealed during the test, you may choose a revealed location up to 2 connections away from your location. You are now investigating as if you were at the chosen location in addition to your location. You may use either shroud value. So Sixth Sense was really good, and I still kind of share I still kind of believe in what we were saying before, that it's not super healthy for the game to just let people convert their basic investigation action into willpower. It just makes it too straightforward and easy to just make everything under 1 stat. That said, 4 XP to upgrade it, and similarly, all I'm really seeing here is +2 willpower. Right? When you draw a token, being able to investigate up to 2 locations away instead of 1 location away.
No, but it's also you investigate both locations. That's the other difference. Right? The previous one, you chose which one to get a clue from. This one, you get a clue from both.
Oh, in addition to your location?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I read that and it did not stick in my brain. Okay, that's more interesting.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, okay, so the potential to get 2 clues now. Again, if you draw this, quarter to a third of the tokens in the bag. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's really powerful. I think the previous one was already really powerful. Yeah, this is super good. And I think if you wanted to really maximize both Sixth Sense and Wither, because they're both spell slots, you could have another character take a bunch of protective incantations. For example, like Safina is pretty good at taking those. So you could make a deck, like a pair, 2 or 3 investigators that were really designed to trigger those as often as possible.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely points you even more strongly towards this archetype of wanting these tokens, which we've gotten a lot of support for this cycle, and I haven't, even though Sixth Sense is good, I haven't really seen it add up to something that seems like strong, like sure fun, but not great. This would certainly make it in there, though. I want to circle back to it.
It affects your campaign story choices, because it used to be that like, oh, there's some sweet item, but you have to take this token. But now it's like, give me those Necronomicons, those black books, like.
Oh, that's a great point. Even get the security guard killed.
Yeah.
Right.
Why not?
Get that token in the bag. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, especially because of the way tokens occur in the Dunwich campaign in particular. That really transforms the way you look at some of those choices and moments. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, that leaves us just the survivor cards.
Yep.
What do we got first?
All right, so we have a 1-cost 2 XP event with 2 agility icons. Lure. Was there a lure before? Like, there's been a lot of survivor events with names like that.
I think so, but I couldn't tell you what it did.
Yeah, this may or may not be an upgraded version of a card or a downgraded version.
Only the most intelligent insight on optimal play.
It's a trick, so Rita can take 2 extra copies of it. Attached to your location or to a connecting location. During the enemy phase, each enemy that moves does so along the shortest path towards the attached location instead of to where it would normally move. And then forced at the end of the round, discard lure. So...
Okay, I think this was a card. This sounds familiar. It's like forcing enemies to move somewhere else than their hunter or keyword would normally move them. I think what's new, or what jumps out at me as new, is that you can play it onto I cannot talk tonight. You play it onto a connecting location. I don't think that was there on the original lure, and I've gotta think the lure was level 0 because who would pay XP for it?
Yeah, so this might be a better version of a card that we've completely forgotten existed, and I mean certainly connecting location would be better. Still can't say I'm like super excited for it.
Okay. A level 3 survivor event is our last card. Eucatastrophe? That is it.
Eucatastrophe.
Eucatastrophe. Is that a real word?
So
I don't know this word.
Yeah, it might be just like a mashup of like a couple different words.
Catastrophe and eucalyptus?
No, there's yeah. I feel like there's a word about the end of the world that sounds kind of like you something. But I don't
know. I'm sure we'll get some help in the comments. But let's see what it does. It is a fortune and it is blessed. Fast. Play when you reveal a chaos token that would reduce your skill value to 0 during a skill test, including the auto-fail token. Cancel that token and treat it as an Elder Sign token instead. Cool. It's really rare to get to toy with the auto-fail token. What do you think?
Yep. This is super good. I think it's finally given Mateo kind of a reason to exist. I did a Mateo campaign, and I just felt like he was mostly a pretty blah mystic. But now it's like, I think this a build that really tries to like fail or auto succeed could be really interesting with him.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's the card Mateo needed just 13 or 14 products later. Right? This seems great because his Elder Sign is so good, and this gives him more of it. I'd say it's really worth considering in general, especially there's not that many level 3 survivor cards. They tend to have really cheap upgrades. So it's finally a little bit more of an XP sink. I know in my Rita deck I've exiled some cards to eat up some XP, but I've really been kind of looking at my like pile of XP and like, what do I even spend this on lately? Here's a great option. And Yeah, so it's not. I'm looking at this and feeling like it's nearly guaranteed that you pass a test, but it isn't because you would have to hit 0 in order to play it.
Yeah, so I think it's if you, for example, get 3 XP but no trauma in your Calvin, this would be a great first thing to do because you're probably going to be at 0 a lot in the next scenario.
True.
One question, if you are at 0 and you draw a 0, does that not count as reducing your skill value to 0?
Ooh.
Because it's not technically reducing, it's just staying the same.
If you're at 0 and draw 0, if you're taking tests at 0.
Well, because you have this in your hand.
Yeah, true. I don't know the answer to that. We've had a lot of good rules questions this time. I think just having this in hand, to me, what I would want to do is not come in. I want to be taking tests where I'm comfortable, like +4 for standard, where I'm comfortable that I'm going to pass, and have this for now I'm guaranteed I will pass because I know the autofail can't sabotage me. And that's always just the most painful moment in this game is when there's a 15 out of 16 chance that you pass, but the autofail is drawn and it costs you the game. With this in hand, you know it can't happen.
Yeah.
Which part of me is a little sad about because I like that aspect of you're never sure, right? When it comes to the tests in this game. But for 3 XP and costing some resources and just deep into one class, I'm not upset this exists.
Yeah, I mean there's 2 factions that can kind of get around the autofail sometimes, and they're survivors and mystics.
Yeah.
And so this really falls into both of their color pies.
Right.
If Guardians or Seekers start being able to deal with the autofail, that I feel like would be too much.
Agreed. All right, what do you think of the pack?
There's a lot of interesting cards. I think I'm probably most excited for Bonded. I think these ones are pretty decent, but I think there's a lot of potential in the next cycle as well.
Yeah, it sounded like they're doing some more really interesting stuff with that mechanic, and I think it has a lot of design space. I mean, the card I don't want to see is a card that is that rewards you for playing bonded cards. I don't want to get encouraged to having a pile of 15 bonded cards that I have to dig through every time I play an asset or something. But barring that over the top leaning into the mechanic, I really like it and I'm excited to play with it.
Yeah.
And then in general, I think it's a strong pack. I think everything from the I've had worse downgrades, you owe me one, obviously the upgraded spells. Well, actually, I kind of poo-pooed them, but they're fine. I think it was very strong. I think we got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I think the rogue cards are, besides the new keyword and Bonded, I think the rogue cards are the most exciting. Those are both super cool.
Yes.
And you could even use them together. You could play 2 of your friends' cards. So.
Definitely young one. Hey, they would get to draw 2 cards, so how can they even complain? Oh man. Yeah, okay. I wanna build that deck. Okay. Rules question. Let's back it up. What happens if you double you handle this one? Do they resolve the treachery twice? Because if so, I kind of love that. You'd get 2 resources out of it. All right, this rogue deck needs to happen. They're finally giving me what I want for the rogue archetype.
Maximum grief.
All right. Since this is the end of a cycle, and the first cycle that we've been doing these first impressions, I just want to wrap up saying thank you, Stephen, for joining me on each and every one of these.
Yeah.
I've had a great time talking with you, and I plan to, if you'll join me, continue into Return to Carcosa should be next, and beyond. Thank you to, wherever he is, Matt Newman and Fantasy Flight for making this awesome game that we love enough to sit here in front of cameras and hot lights and talk about it for hours on end. And thank you to everyone who's watching, and extra thanks to anyone who has commented or joined us in Discord or anything to tell us how right and smart we are. We appreciate you most of all. With that, any final words for the cycle?
Just really excited to see the ending.
Yes.
I think everything's probably going to go great.
And that raises a good point. It would have been much more elegant if I ended on the thank yous, but we are going to turn off these cameras and stream our play of Before the Black Throne. I stumble over these names every time. So that will have already happened by the time you're seeing this on YouTube, but you can check out the archive on our Twitch channel or eventually on YouTube. So I hope you do that after you've played it for yourself. Don't watch us to spoil it. But I'm excited to shoot a bow in Azathoth's face. I think I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Maybe?
we'll see. I mean, you've never been able to fight him in an Arkham game before, right?
That's true, yeah.
So, we'll see. Maybe we just all lose.
You think that's just what the scenario
The scenario
is?
section.
Yeah. As a thought devours you, you have lost the campaign.
Yeah.
The only true way to win was earlier. All right, well then, we're going to go play some Arkham. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, be optimal.
Bye.